Welcome back to Only with Ron, and today we are going to talk about GFA harmonization. The market has a mixture of pre-GFA harmonized and post-GFA harmonized, and no wonder the buyers are confused. So in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what GFA harmonization is and how it affects you as a buyer. And if you stay to the end of this video, I will even include a bonus for you. Before we start, it will help us so much that you will hit the like button, share this video, and also subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get updates on our latest uploads. Thank you very much. So this is how we are going to run through today's topic. So first, we are going through the TLDR of the URA notice to know what exactly the GFA harmonization is, what effect does it have on the newer and the older plots of land, and what should buyers and sellers do in reaction to this new regulation. So without further ado, let's go. So GFA harmonization, as you can see, was announced in 2022 September, and it comes into effect on 1st June 2023. So by now, a lot of projects that are launched are actually affected by the GFA harmonization. But there are still a number of projects that are not affected by the GFA harmonization regulations because they are bidded before or they are en bloc land. So this is something that you need to take note of, and I'll cover that in the later part of this video. To put it in very simple terms, what is GFA harmonization? Basically, is all the government agencies are coming together to have the same way of measuring space. So to give you a little bit of context, in the past, URA measures the building intensity based on GFA, and SLA demarcate ownership based on strata area, and BCA uses statistical GFA to measure total floor area, and lastly SCDF uses accessible floor area to determine fire safety. And you can see that all these different kind of terms actually created a lot of confusion and extra work for people who are submitting papers for approvals. So that is why these new regulations is actually aiming to streamline this process to make all the paperwork that developers have to submit to be more streamlined and cost efficient. But however, there will definitely be some implications for buyers in today's market because how you look at space has already changed in the government's eye. In the past, URA measures GFA by including the thickness of the wall within this space, and SLA measures the strata space from the middle of the wall. So what happened after this GFA harmonization comes into play? So for developments that are affected by GFA harmonization, number one, all agencies must measure the floor area from the middle of the wall. Number two, all stratas area will be included into the GFA. What does that mean? Because in the past, when developers are building spaces like aircon ledges, these aircon ledges are actually not included in the total GFA that they can build. However, as a strata space, they will be able to sell this space to the consumers. So that will no longer be allowed. So developers today will build aircon ledges, but they will not charge the aircon ledges to you. Number three, all void areas are excluded from the strata area. In the past, developers may be building high ceilings. There will be an airspace which we call the void area. So this void area used to be included in the strata area, which means they can actually sell you this strata area. Today, they are not allowed to be included in the strata area, which means high ceiling will no longer be sold to you. So what you can expect is you'll be buying a true usable floor space that I think a lot of buyers will appreciate, because that means that they do not spend extra money on spaces that they do not or unable to use. And lastly, this will be more on the agency's side, which BCA and SCDF will be adopting and aligning their definition on the SGFA, which is a statistical GFA. So in today's market, there are actually a mixture of developments that is affected by the GFA harmonization and developments that are not affected by the GFA harmonization. So for a layman, it is pretty hard to determine which one is and which one is not. For example, the recent launches like Chuan and Emerald of Katong. Chuan and Emerald of Katong actually had their launch on the same day. However, Chuan is not affected by the GFA harmonization, which means you will be buying the aircon ledges. Emerald of Katong is affected by the GFA harmonization. So that means you are not paying for the aircon ledges. So that is just one small example, and you can see that even projects that are being launched at the same time may not be under the same ruling. So that explains why in the market today, there's some confusion here and there, And this is something that you need to understand before you actually place a check in any developments. And next, we'll be going into the effects that GFA harmonization have on the property market. But before that, if you like what you are learning so far, do hit the like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget the notification bell so our hard work can reach out to more like-minded people like yourself. Okay, so what effect does GFA harmonization have on the property market? Basically, if you look at this, the same floor plan, we use a hypothetical example. A space of 1356 square feet before GFA harmonization has an aircon ledge of 86 square feet. If it's being sold at 2.83 million, the per square foot is 2087 PSF. But if the exact same layout is being put into the new GFA harmonization ruling, the space will drop to 1270 square feet because the aircon ledge of 86 square feet will not be included, and by selling the same price, the PSF is actually 2,228 per square foot. So you can see that there is something like a 5 to 7% increase in the area that is actually sold to you. So if all things are equal, you will expect a higher PSF. Another example that I can put across to you is two developments in the same area, which is namely the Hillock Green, 904 square feet, and Lentor Mansion, 818 square feet. Both of them are 3-bedroom compact. We can see that for Lentor Mansion, so Lentor Mansion was the first project that was affected by the GFA harmonization, and between the two project launches, actually they are just 1 quarter apart. That means Hillock Green was launched in Q4 2023 and Lentor Mansion was launched in Q1 2024. So these two will be in the same market timeline, and look at the PSF, you can see that the Lentor Mansion has a higher PSF, average of 2273 PSF. However, Hillock Green would be an average of 2142 PSF. But if you look closely into the purchase price, both of them are in the same price range of about 1.8-ish million. So you see, these regulations actually will shrink the floor size. However, the purchase price will remain more or less the same. So GFA harmonization does have an effect on the layout that you will be purchasing. It actually gives you a more efficient and usable layout, which I think a lot of buyers today welcome in the market. And that is also one of the reasons why some of the developments that are GFA harmonized are doing so well in recent launches. Buyers who are accustomed to the old type of layout are actually pleasantly surprised with the new layouts that they are being presented with. So having a good layout is definitely something that a buyer in today's market need to look out for. However, there are still other factors that you should be looking out for. So that brings me to what should a buyer or a seller do in today's market, especially looking at the GFA Harmonized project. So for me as a buyer in today's market, especially 2025, there are more than 30 launches that will be in the market. We definitely need to know which projects are affected by the GFA harmonization ruling and which are not. Having said that, I'm not saying that GFA Harmonized project will have the best layouts, because we do see projects that are pre-GFA Harmonized do have very efficient layouts, and in fact, some of them even have very attractive prices. So layout is one thing. We definitely need to go and have a look at the layout to see the efficiency and whether it will perform well in the resale market in future. Number two, we will need to know what margin are we buying into, and that leads us to the entry price. So we need to compare the entry price around the area, resales versus the new launches, and pre-GFA versus the post-GFA, to know what are we entering into, whether it is a safe entry. So if you're a buyer today and you're interested to know more about how to actually look at a certain property, or you want to know what are the upcoming launches that are affected or not affected by the GFA harmonization, you can definitely drop me a message over here and we can have a more in-depth chat on this topic. But as a seller in today's market, what must you do? Because you're holding on to a pre-GFA harmonized layout, you're holding on to a property that were not just pre-GFA harmonized, they were actually much earlier, which is like layouts with bay windows, planter, huge balconies. All these have been rolled out over time in different time of the year in the past 10 to 15 years. So nothing wrong with those, because we can definitely make good use of those spaces. It really boils down to the demand and supply, and as well as what do you want in the next stage of your life. So basically, for sellers we see that is entering the market to actually offload their properties today, they are not just looking for new layouts, but they are more of looking to move into a new location or they are looking to cash out. So I'm not saying that you need to sell now or this GFA harmonization coming in will actually cause you to lose money. I think it all boils down to whether you feel that there is a need for you to go into a new development or a new space that will give you better convenience or more efficient layouts. I think that will definitely help you in your property journey in the long run. So if you are a property seller wanting to explore more on the effects of GFA harmonization having on your property or your property upgrading journey, you can also reach out to me over here and we can have a chat about your property and understand the value of it much deeper. So with that, just some of my final thoughts about GFA harmonization. I think in Singapore, one very good thing that the government is doing is they keep on improving on the regulations, and they have been doing that for a very long time, rolling out new regulations and making sure that buyers in the market are actually buying into spaces that is good for living. Will this be the last regulations that they roll out? I am sure it will not be, but as of today, we are really loving what we are seeing. So with that, I hope you learned something today. And if anyone is not sure about GFA harmonization, send them this video and I'm sure they will be a lot clearer on the effects of GFA harmonization have on the market today. So with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!